I think he's the best screen setting and rim running big in this draft. Like if you watch even like 2 minutes of his best highlights from last year, it's all of him elevating and dunking on people and then flexing and banging his head and yelling in their face about it.
Yves Missi out of Baylor. He is 7 foot with a 7'5" wingspan, averaged 10.7 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, 0.6 steals, shooting 61.4% from the field. This guy dunks. He's got energy and seemingly a lot of upside considering he's only played 3 years of organized basketball.
Crazy.
So that's exciting. How are we feeling about Yves?
I like Yves. Solid player. Defensively, he's going to get you what you want. You know, he's going to be able to defend. He's a lob threat, without a doubt. Outside of the lob threat and around the rim, not a lot to love there. Not a lot to love. So I like Yves. He's my second favorite player on this list. But yeah, I'm not.
Doesn't feel like
That's all
it.
I'm going to say. I know that was kind of a back-ass kind of fucking recommendation. He's a good player. He's a really good player. Like athletically, he's going to hold up, and he's got an NBA ready kind of motor and body. He plays with tenacity and effort. Absolutely. If we drafted him, I'd be happy. But I just favor one other guy in the draft.
All right, so I like all these guys. This was my last guy. Okay. I had him last on my list.
Out of 5.
Out of the 5, yeah. I had him last on my list. But again, I like all 5.
After Filipowski?
Yeah. No, listen, I rate him. I had Holmes 1, had Ware 2.
You had Holmes 1?
I had Holmes. I said it when it's my favorite guy.
My problem with Holmes is that he plays too low.
Okay.
Like when he attacks the rim, everything is low. Okay.
I actually like that about him.
Oh, I don't like that.
I know what I like.
Not in the
so
NBA,
so that point, I see what you're saying. I love at 6'10" how he's able to get lower to the ground. And he actually, that's what I'm saying. He's a 6'10" guy that's got feet and a body control of a guard.
But he loses his vision when he does that.
He finishes well enough for me that it doesn't bother me as much. But I do see what you're saying. I just love Ware.
When that head is down and KD's open in the corner, you think somebody's gonna get cussed out.
What did I say on the tape though? We talked about this. I said, the tape shows him strong side plenty of times where you think he doesn't know where he's at because guards, you play guard. I was a point guard. My head was down a lot, but I knew where I was at. I swear tape shows me that he sees it. So I'm least worried about that. Did I bring that up to you? I'm sorry to go off the rails.
Also, I feel like if KD pulls you aside and reams you for that once or twice, you might learn your lesson.
I'm here, Brody. Yeah.
You might learn your lesson.
But real quick on Yves, I got him as the last guy on my list because I think he is very one-dimensional. He is a lob threat. He's physical. He's got the motor. But outside of that, offensively, I question what he's really going to bring as far as anything more than a lob threat. Again, I love his motor. If we were gauging motor and physicality, he's number 1 on the list. This guy reminds me, I'm going to throw a name at, if you don't believe me, just go watch some tape. This guy reminds me of a very young Bismack Biyombo. Okay, that's what I see. When I went to a game at Madison Square Garden when Bismack was with the Hornets, sat like a couple rows up from courtside. Bismack Biyombo is a fucking grown man. He had like 25 rebounds in this game. He was throwing people all over the place. He finished everything. Young Bismack Biyombo was very impressive. He gives me shades of that. I think this guy can come in. He's going to play his ass off. But I wonder when things get a little bit more tight and in the half court and things matter a little more, can you completely take that out of his game? So that's my thing.
So for me, Yves, I had him number 1 on my list of these 5 bigs. And the reason for that is I feel like similar to where he's going to be a project, similar to where he is one of the best screen setting, rim running. I think he's the best screen setting and rim running big in this draft. Like if you watch even like 2 minutes of his best highlights from last year, it's all of him elevating and dunking on people and then flexing and banging his head and yelling in their face about it. He brings a passion to the game that is just kind of infectious, and maybe I'm a sucker for that type of thing, but He also took a whopping 71% of his shots around the rim and made 72% of them. So he's a great finisher. And even though he's only been playing organized ball for 3 years, there were some flashes of like a face-up game. It's not anything that I think is translatable to the NBA level right now, but there were some examples of him facing up, putting the ball on the floor, closing that distance, and finishing pretty well with a couple of different moves, which I was kind of shocked going into the exercise knowing he had only played 3 years of organized ball.
That's
pretty impressive. He's young. He just turned 20 in May, just like Ware. The one difference is that Ware has a much bigger head start on being a three-point shooter. I don't think Missi is that. And he does need to get stronger. He needs to stay out of foul trouble because he did get in foul trouble. But defensively is where Missi stands out to me. He is a guy that is going to be able to, I think, at the next level, be in any coverage, whether it's drop coverage, whether he's blitzing, whether he's switching. I think he has the best chance of being able to execute any defensive coverage because this is a guy that grew up in Cameroon playing soccer. And we've seen multiple NBA guys come to the league after growing up playing soccer. They have great footwork. They're laterally very quick. And that kind of held up on film watching him. So Sam Vecini of The Athletic compared elements of his game to Clint Capella, only if Clint Capella could actually switch onto the perimeter, which for me is like, that's the one big weakness with Capella outside of offensively, that type of stuff. So he's tantalizing to me. I don't know if he'll fall this far. I don't know if Ware will fall this far. But if either of those two are on the board at 22, it would be hard for me personally to pass up on them.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that is, I don't know about you guys, since it feels like it's been 100 years since we've cared about the draft, reminding ourselves that pretty much anybody we take is going to have a learning curve.
Yes.
They're going to need time to develop.
Yes.
The Suns organization as a whole is going to have to put some emphasis into them to give them that opportunity to develop, whether that's in the G League, because obviously when you have a team who's trying to win championships, you don't get the opportunity as much. We saw that with Sticks as well.
Yeah.
But now there is a G League team that's going to be really helpful to help some of these younger guys develop.